Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the 9 p.m. telecast of the news of the prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. I'm Moin Hetarachi.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Police headquarters request devotees to refrain from arriving in Kandy for the veneration of the sacred tooth relic for the next 2 days. The government says that talks with USA on the trade tariffs are successful. The World Bank in its latest report points out that Sri Lanka's economy has made a remarkable recovery. Remains of the late pontiff placed in St. Peter's Basilica. Postal voting of the local government elections to commence tomorrow. 3 suspects arrested in connection with the murder of Dan Priyasad. 26 killed after gunmen opened fire on tourists in Kashmir.
We now move on to those and other stories in detail, taking a look at local news first. Issuing a special communique, the police says that since there are a large number of devotees in queues awaiting to venerate the sacred tooth relic, the devotees are urged to avoid coming for the next 2 days for veneration. The veneration of the sacred tooth relic commenced on the 18th of this month and continued for 6th day today. The police headquarters says that since more than 300,000 devotees have already gathered in the queues at present, therefore the devotees who are planning to come in now will not be able to perform their veneration. Police headquarters say it is better to refrain from coming for the next 2 days.
President Anil Kumar Dissanayake says that a joint statement is to be declared by 2 parties that held talks to obtain relief for trade tariffs imposed by the USA. The president made these remarks at a public rally held in Ratnapura today. The rally was held at Sivali grounds in Ratnapura. It was held to assure the victory of the NPP candidates at the upcoming local government elections. The rally was organized under the theme of Jayaniyatai Gamapatai. President Anil Kumar Dissanayake said that this year can be recorded as the year that earns the highest export income in Sri Lanka. However, an emergency situation has erupted in the USA affecting Sri Lanka's export sector, including apparel. The government is attempting to solve this problem. The delegation, headed by Deputy Minister of Finance, went to the USA and held talks yesterday as well. They have informed that the talks were much successful and the 2 parties are scheduled to declare a joint statement. The USA and Sri Lanka attempt to solve this problem mutually. Some people say that members of the present government do not rob public money. However, that would happen to the persons who had stolen public assets. A case was already being filed against the eldest son of a former president. 2 cases for his second son. Even a grandmother will face another. More cases will line up. None of these cases cannot be branded as political revenge. These cases have been filed before the High Courts following proper investigations. The President held talks with the Attorney General of Department this morning as well to check any delay that is in place. A large number of cases are at the final stage to be filed before the High Courts. In case of Chief Minister and his cousin in Anuradhapura, the lawyers requested a simple punishment. However, the judge said that their fraud and corruption led to the fall of country's economy, affecting the general public. Therefore, the judge was in the opinion that the maximum punishment should be served in such culprits. When considering the caliber of misappropriation of public money, culprits should be served in jails.
In the meantime, the government says that the talks held with the United States regarding the tariffs introduced by President Donald Trump are fruitful. The talks in this connection was held in Washington. Deputy Finance Minister Harshana Surya Peruma and Secretary to the Ministry Mahinda Sirivardhana joined the talks for Sri Lanka, while the US Trade Agency officials participated on behalf of the US government. The 2 parties have agreed to solve the tariff problem mutually in a win-win situation for both sides. In an inquiry made by the national television, Minister Anil Jayantha said that talks are being held to find solution for the rest of the problem. Pope Francis's body is laying in state in St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican. Mourners are now filing past the coffin, which will stay in front of the papal altar during the 3 days of the public mourning before his funeral on Saturday. Pope Francis will now lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica, where the public will be able to pay their respects to him over the coming days. Cardinals accompanied him on the journey as crowds from across the world gathered along the way. At points, some could be heard clapping, others were seen in tears. A queue has now formed of those wanting to visit his coffin before his funeral on Saturday. At least 250,000 people are expected to attend Pope Francis's funeral. Tens of thousands have already descended on Vatican City over the last 2 days to pay their respects to the late Pope. At least 100 delegates from around the world are also set to attend the ceremony, and security is expected to be tight. Since the Pope's passing away, there has been an increase in security and other measures put in place. This morning, police barricades are up. And officers are conducting checks on those entering St. Peter's Square.
Large crowds, including foreign diplomats, are arriving at the Apostolic Nunciature in Sri Lanka in Colombo to pay their last respects to late Pope Francis, while His Eminence of Colombo, Archbishop Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, left the island this morning for Italy to take part in the funeral. Director of the National Catholic Communication, Reverend Father Jude Krishantha, states that the Archbishop will come back following the participation of the Cardinal Conclave. Meanwhile, Vatican Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Brian Udage, welcomed the crowds arriving in the embassy. Among the crowds were diplomats representing Brazil, Oman, India, Great Britain and chairman of the All Ceylon Buddhist Congress. Three suspects have been arrested regarding the killing of the social activist Dan Priyadath. He was shot dead in a housing unit in Salman Mulla housing complex in Valampitiya last night. It is reported that 6 police teams have been deployed to investigate this incident. He was injured in the shootout and succumbed to injuries after being admitted to Colombo National Hospital. 2 unidentified persons have come on a motorbike and shot him dead. Another person also had minor injuries in the incident. The 39-year-old Dan Priyadath was scheduled to contest the local government election for the Kolonava Urban Council under the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Police reporting the information to the Colombo Magistrate Courts regarding the incident said that the suspects are father and son connected to this crime. Accordingly, the police request the courts to issue an order against the 2 suspects banning foreign travel. The Colombo Additional Magistrate Harshana Kakanola has issued an order to the Controller of Immigration and Immigration for the other officials to prevent the suspects leaving the country. Police are conducting further investigations. A person has died in a shootout that occurred last night in Katan area. The police say that the victim had attacked a businessman with a sharp weapon. At the time Mr. Businessman had been shot by the victim, the businessman was also injured and admitted to the hospital. He is a former councillor of the Prajit Sabha. Police stated that the firearm used in the connection was a licensed weapon.
Minister Ananda Vijaypala says that one of the major aims of this government is to end the social, economic and political environment that causes the creation of underworld gangs. He made these remarks addressing a public rally held in Pandala area yesterday. Minister Ananda Vijaypala says that the government made a pledge to the people to protect the rule of law. Justice and equity should be brought to the country. The government will create an environment in the country for the people who live without fear. Under the former regime, underworld gangs were nurtured and used for their underhand activities. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the government to end this culture of underworld.
506 inmates of the Martha prison were transferred to Anganukola Palace prison in this morning following a chaotic situation that erupted last night. A committee has been appointed to look into the incident. The police say that dispute occurred between two groups of inmates and that was controlled at present. A heated situation occurred between two groups of inmates when one group was expressing a protest to transferring two inmates to Anganupala Palace prison. Then the inmates had attacked security chambers and prison officials. 3 prison officials who received minor injuries this incident are now getting treated at Mathura General Hospital. 25 female inmates of the Mathura prison have also been transferred to Anganupala Palace prison for their security. The police stated that the security around the prison premises have been beefed up. A group of police officers, including SSP of the Mathura division, Vikram Ginage, and prison media spokesman, arrived at Mathura prison this morning to look into the matter. SSP Vikram Ginage said that the security of the inmates has been assured.
SSP Shani Abesekara has also been appointed to the investigation committee that is entrusted to look into the Presidential Commission report on Easter Sunday attacks. This appointment was made today by Acting IGP Priyantha Veerasurya. This committee, headed by Senior DIG Asanga Karavita, originally it had 4 members, and with the appointment of SSP Shani Abesekara, the number increased to 5. Meanwhile, the committee appointed to investigate and report whether the IGP Deshabandhu Tendakon has misused the power of his portfolio met in Parliament today for the first time. This committee is headed by Supreme Court Judge Preeti Padman Surasena. Judge WMNP Iddawala and Chairman of the National Police Commission EWM Lalit Ekanayaka are the other members of the committee.
Tens of thousands of devotees have arrived in Kandy for the veneration of the sacred tooth relic today as well. The veneration commences at 11 a.m. today. Asanka Nilagaratna of the National Television brings more information regarding the situation in Kandy. Today is the 6th day of the veneration of the sacred tooth relic. Nearly 100,000 devotees were in queues at 11 a.m., the time that commenced the veneration. Our reporter said that a large number of devotees joining the queues were increasing. Devotees were in queues amidst heavy rains experienced in Kandy this afternoon. Devotees talked to our reporter and expressed their gratitude to the organizers and the government for providing this opportunity for them.
කිලෝමීටර් 6කට වඩා දුර බවටයි තොරතුරු වාර්තා වන්නේ. ඉතින් දළදා වහන්සේ වැඳ පුදා ගන්නට
The committee appointed to look into the problems of pharmacy staff and other problems of the private sector pharmacies was handed over to the Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. Chairman of the committee, Professor Indika Karnatilaka, and other members have handed over this report to the Minister. The Minister was enlightened that there is a shortage of pharmacists and other staff at private sector pharmacies, and many other problems directly affect the sector. The Minister has instructed the Secretary to the Ministry Consultant, Dr. Anil Jasinger, to look into this matter and submit a report with suitable recommendations. Accordingly, the Health Secretary had appointed this 5-member committee. The talks between US Vice President and Indian Premier Narendra Modi on the trade tariffs were held in a rare and mutual situation. The reason for this is the 3 visitors who have also joined the talks. The US Vice President J.D. Vance, who is now on a visit to India, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi with his wife and 3 children. His wife is of Indian origin.
The World Bank in its recent report said that Sri Lanka's economy has made a remarkable recovery last year. Although a projected growth of 4.4% is expected last year, it has surpassed the expectations by recording a 5% growth. The World Bank's biannual Sri Lanka Development Update was launched today. It highlighted that despite the positive growth and fiscal performance, significant challenges remain. The growth has been driven by strong performance in the industry and services, particularly in construction and tourism-related services. According to the report, although there is positive growth, Sri Lanka still faces many challenges. Among them, a major problem is the poverty rate remains alarmingly high at 24.5% last year. The Inland Revenue Department informs that if anyone has not yet taken the taxpayer identification number or the TIN number, it can be obtained through the e-service of the department. The facilities of getting the TIN number have been provided by banks, obtaining relief given by the government for withholding the tax. A total of 10 million people have registered with the Indian Revenue Department to obtain taxpayer identification numbers, while at least 7 million people still remain unregistered. The Inland Revenue Department's Deputy Commissioner General BKS Shanta said, addressing the media, that 10 million people, including the persons who are above the 18 years old, a gazette notification was issued in May 2023, making it mandatory for all individuals aged 18 and above, or those turning 18 by December 31st, 2023, and those who reached the age of 18 after January 1st, 2024, to obtain a TIN number registration. Obtaining a TIN number became legal requirement at the time. Many people did not initially receive the number. Subsequently, the Inland Revenue Department processed and issued TINs for them. Towards this purpose, the online system has been introduced for the IRD for the people to obtain their TINs without visiting the department, head office and the branch officers. In the future, the TIN will become mandatory for various financial and legal activities, including bank deposit, vehicle registration, ownership transfers, land registration, business registration, obtaining credit cards and many other financial transactions.
New bridge at Wattuwakal area across the Nandikadal Lagoon along the Mullaitivu Paranthan Road is scheduled to be constructed. Minister Bimal Ratnayaka inspected the proposed construction site. The government has also presented a proposal through the budget this year regarding the construction of the bridge. The minister said that the plans have already been finalized and the procurement procedure is going on. The estimated cost for the bridge is 1,900 million rupees and a sum of 1,000 million has already been allocated from this budget. A group of officials of the Road Development Authority was also present with the minister. Minister Bimal Ratnayaka said that this bridge has been unattended for over a long period. It has a cultural value as well. Therefore, the government has decided to start this project as an essential transport program in the development of the northern province. It is expected to call up bids in July. The target is to complete the constructions of the bridge within the next 2 years.
A meeting organised by Samak Jana Balavegia was held at Divunuwara area yesterday under the patronage of the opposition leader Sajid Premadasa. The meeting was held in support of the SJP candidate who contests the local government elections. Opposition leaders Sajid Premadasa said that people will give a proper decision on behalf of the country in this upcoming local government elections. Thereby, it is believed that SJP will claim a unique victory. The SJP has been able to serve the people even without power, although the government limit the funds and the SJP will achieve a super service to the public.
A public meeting organised by the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna held at Dimbulagala area in Polonnaruwa yesterday under the patronage of the national organiser of the party, Namal Rajapaksa. This has been organised to secure the victory of the SLPP candidates who contest the upcoming election. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa proposes the supporters to visit each house in each village to accumulate the votes and to recover the lost votes. The SLPP has a vision and a mission and confidence to win. They believe that there should be more employment opportunities for the youth in the country. The SLPP team should be made victorious in each local government body. The people who are loyal to the country should rally round the SLPP to win the next elections. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
Creama Kottumi, hot and spicy Nava Vasarak Veva.
Moving on to news overseas now, security has been beefed up across Indian-controlled Kashmir a day after an attack killed at least 26 people, most of them tourists, as Indian forces launched a manhunt for the perpetrators of one of the deadliest attacks in the rest of Himalayan region, and leaders vowed to punish the perpetrators. Tens of thousands of armed police and soldiers fanned out across the region and erected additional checkpoints. They searched cars and used helicopters to search the forested mountains, and in some areas summoned former militants to police stations for questioning, reports said. Many shops and businesses in Kashmir closed to protest the killings. Police called the incident a terror attack and blamed militants fighting against Indian rule. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh vowed to not only trace those who perpetrated the attack, but also trace those who conspired to commit this nefarious act on our soil. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who cut short a visit to Saudi Arabia and returned to New Delhi today, is currently holding a special security cabinet meeting.
Creama Kottumi, hot and spicy Nava Vasarak Veva.
On to sports news. The new swimming pool of the Sri Lanka Cricket High Performance Centre was declared open yesterday by the Minister of Sports Sunil Kumar Gamage and several others. The new swimming pool was constructed at the R. Premadasa International Stadium premises in Colombo. It is comprised with 8 lanes. Deputy Minister Sugat Tilakaratne, Chairman of Sri Lanka Cricket Shami Silva, Chief Coach Sanat Jayasuriya, Chairman of the Cricket Selection Committee Upul Tharanga, and Captain of the Sri Lanka Women's Cricket Team Chamari Atapattu were present on this occasion. That's it for tonight's English News Update. Thank you for joining us. Good night.